All right, this is the Moonlight Sun, Mike Skyros, and you are now listening to the Three Count Podcast. All killer, no filler.
Yeah, when the sun goes down, i.e., Nick Dog.
Well, by now, if you're listening to this intro, you know what that means. This is now entering 201. So, what does that mean? I am Clifford Red Dogman, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And, like every good sharper, it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So, who's entering? You find this man at Grind. You find this man at Smash Master. You find this man all up and down the East Coast, West Coast. He is the Moonlight Sun himself. He is Mike Skyros.
What's up, man?
What's
Glad to be
up,
back
bro?
up.
I'm so hyped, like having you back on the show. So we
Oh
had
yeah.
we had talked and stuff, and then like here we are, like putting back on the show again. Run this
So
back because I had so much fun the first time that we had a conversation, and then like since then, we have actually worked in
yes,
the ring.
yes, we
So
have.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
that was so much fun, man. I've been like wanting to get a one on one now that we've had that six man. I was like, I want a one on one now. And every time I turn around, your name always gets brought up when I talk to other wrestlers about like who they want to work. And your name is always brought up. So, it's a testament to you, man.
It's really cool. I always take that as a huge compliment. I'm not gonna spoil it because it was like semi-recent, but there was a match that happened because of a similar situation, and it's like I always take that as a compliment, and it always makes me work a little bit harder because like I'm confident in what I bring to the table and the things that I've been lucky enough to be a part of in wrestling, but, like, I will never look at myself as, like, a big superstar or anything because like, I haven't been on TV, I haven't had a contract, I haven't done a bunch of international work. So, just someone to look at what I've done in wrestling and wanna get in the ring with me, that's awesome, and I love that, and I never take it lightly.
Yeah, I love the fact that like people are like seeing the talent that you are and giving you kind of like giving the flowers that I'll be fair, like you rightly deserve because like I've watched you work and we met at Grind and then there's like watching you move coming from place to place. You had your match with Suzuki is like, yo, like that I don't know if it gets any like other than I guess getting signed maybe because then you get to work like all the people you watch on TV, but like working Suzuki, like that's kind of like the tip of the cap for what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to go into that? Like, I
Yeah,
can
we could talk about it because I mean that was to me, I was like, "Oh shit."
yeah, I mean, it's one of It's like, no offense to anyone out there currently wrestling, but, like, I don't know how much higher it gets for me in terms of, like, people to wrestle, you know what I mean? At least, like, for me personally,
Yeah.
because not only is he someone who has accomplished so much and he's held in such high regard, and for good reason, he's someone that I'm not afraid to say I'm a fan of. He's someone I have really admired the way he goes about what he does in the ring, the way he wrestles. So all those factors put together, like it's hard to top, and that's the thing. That was the bittersweet thing about it. Like the smallest bit of shade I can put on it because I've talked about this a few different times, and I've talked about this with people personally. Incredible experience all around. Um, I can go as in depth as you would like, but um, the the other side of it, and I thought about this going into it, coming out of it, and then to this day, is how okay, what's next? I don't want it to be okay, this is the peak and everything else is downhill because that's just not how I want to approach things. I want to find the next peak or the next plateau. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't imagine like a dude being on a bench press and finally putting up 225 and be like, "You know what? It's never going to get better than this." Like you're always
Really good analogy. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like Suzuki, as far as Suzuki goes, man, I would say like this. It would be equivalent to, and for like, I don't know, there was like a cool TikTok video I saw the other day where they were talking about if you can bench press your body weight, you're only top 5%. If you do 225, you're in this like amount of percent. And then like, got to like 405, and it was like you're one of like 400 people to do it or something like that. It was pretty crazy in the world, and like
Yeah.
you're in that echelon, like you're in that category. You almost to me it would be like you're at 405 now. Now how do we get into the 500s? And it's like yeah, it's like I can imagine like you're trying to look on the other side of it like all right, well we're here now. How do I get to the next step?
Yeah, because it's in my hands and it's not. And you'll understand this because you wrestle, and a lot of people that wrestle that may see this. But for everyone out there, I can. It is up to me to do everything I can to get in the best shape possible, to have the best look possible, to wrestle the best I can, to put myself out there, to do all these different things, put out videos that are interesting. Everything that like that is in my control. But ultimately, there are people that could see all of that and there's like, "Ah, I don't wanna book him," or, "Ah, I don't wanna book him with people of this caliber," and it's not my decision. Ultimately, I am not unless I start a wrestling company and book myself against all the cool people, which is the cliche thing to do, it's out of my hands, so there's a an anxiety, but also a I don't know, it feels a little bit free, and that's the way I'm looking at it these days. To not I'm very much trying not to stress about things that aren't in my control, so I try to handle all the factors that I can.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. But then, like on the other side of things too, it's gotta be cool because, like I said, like when we started this whole conversation, it's like you have a bunch of people who are legitimately like wanting to work you because they also appreciate like the work. So like you kind of have like this cool thing going on where it's like you want to get to the next level and you want to wrestle like that next level up of caliber wrestlers. But you also have all these like hungry dogs who are like nipping at your heels, trying to also catch you in the same
Yeah,
token. So I think it's kind of cool, but like, and not everybody out there is like the cream of the crop. Let's be fair, right? Also, I'm not that person, but I am one of those people that I'm like, I'm chasing out Mike Skyros. And I was like, and I get to pick his brain whenever I want, but I'm also like, I see the path that he's blazing. I'm like, I'm gonna tag along with this and try to find my way around too.
I'll say that too, and I'll look right at my camera when I say this too. If you're a person that wants to get in the ring with me, please make that known to me. I don't like if that's a DM, if that's I mean, we've had this conversation before, or if you reach out to a promoter, I would love to make it happen. If you are someone that can get in the ring and you're trained to the point to where you can wrestle and you can have a match, let's go have a match. I would love to.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like so it's cool too because like you're selfless about it. Like you're willing to work anybody, as long as as long as you're like trained and you can hang in the ring. You can also if you can follow directions. I will be fair. I'm I will put this out there right off the rip. Like when I was first told out you and I would be working, I was like, dang, I was mad nervous, and I was there with my friends. And I was like, man, I'm mad nervous. And then just sitting with you and talking to you within the back, I was like, dang, I'm really nervous about all this. And then you were like, don't be, it'll be fine. And I thought, like, for the time that we got to interact, like, I was like, yo, I could actually, I feel like I can actually do a one on one on here, and I would have a fire match with Mike Skyros because I already
Absolutely.
know the level you're at. And I was like, that would only bring me up another level. I was like, this would be a lot. I was like, now I've so it's funny too because like since I've worked you too, right? Like I got to be in a ring with a bunch of other names of people that I've been wanting to work forever. One of those being Ruckus and then Isaiah Wolf, and being in with those two, I was like, oh, I was like, there's a level to this, and I was like, and I'll get to that level,
Yeah.
but I'm on my way in on that level, and I was like, I'm happy with how I'm progressing now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you brought up those points. So if you hadn't have brought it up, I wouldn't have said it because I don't want to paint you in any sort of light, or I'm not sure like what conversations you would like to be brought up. But since you mentioned it, I very much noticed that you were nervous. Like it was very apparent when we spoke, and that's okay. I've I still get in that position, like depending on who I wrestle. Like there are times I'm certainly nervous, and I'm very confident in my ability to be like I'm. And I wish everyone, because I feel like this should be a given, but I very much try to put people that I'm in the ring with, including myself, in positions to succeed. I mean, there's calculated risk and everything, but I've seen a little bit of your work, like, and we spoke, and I'm like, "Okay, what do you feel comfortable doing here, here, here?" I and we leaned on those things. Like, I didn't try and throw something that would put us in a position that we could fall flat on our face.
Yeah.
I I very I'm very much confident in my ability to, like, damage control in that way. And it's cool because, like, there's there's people that, I'll be honest, I doubted it, and I still doubt it from time to time, like, because you see, like, those end of the year type lists come out, and I don't get salty, like, "Why aren't I on anybody's list?" But I do have the thought of, like, "Hey, man, maybe I'm just, like, not making the impression that I used to be, or maybe I need to get myself out there a little bit more because I'm not getting those type of tags and things like that. Maybe there's something that's passed me by that I need to go look at to, not to sound like the oldest man ever, but, like, I've been wrestling 10 plus years, so maybe there's something I need to step up to relate to the wrestlers that are coming up to be more current. But all that to say, I those people when I wrestle them that, like, put me in a certain light, I try to look at it because I'm in those shoes too. What would I want in that scenario? Like, when I'm wrestling, I'll use Suzuki, or I wrestled Cardona, or I wrestled the Colon brothers. Okay, what about these scenarios did I like or not like? What about these scenarios would would I want as the person in the passenger seat almost, if that makes sense?
Yeah. No, I definitely I understand, and, like, it's been funny too because, like, I've kind of been able to, like, travel a little bit and work, like I said, around working and stuff like that, and so, like, finally, like, I think it was funny because after working with you and then, like I said, after there was, like, a couple matches I had in May, after working those matches and then, like, I started to realize, like, "Alright, this is a thing that I can do. I can help, like, I can bring, like, my character," and there was a lot of things being taught to me, like, and it's some things that you just get taught in the ring. It's not something that you go to practice. You can practice these things, but, like, until you're really into a situation where it calls for it, you're not really gonna know what to do. Like, I'll
Absolutely.
give a perfect example, right? So I was in a ring, I was working Isaiah Wolf, and, like, he was giving me opportunities to, like, take shots, but I was not taking those shots. I wasn't, like, really thinking about those things. I was just kind of like, all right, man, like, I'm just here for this, right? And then I'm just getting beat up. So it was almost like this zero to hero moment when I started to come back around. Um, but after, like, working a match with him, I was like, all right, you know what? Like, these are things that I should really be focusing on. So, like, recently, a bunch of matches that I'm working as a babyface, like, all right, well, your hands are up. Up, there's one. And they're like, oh, want to do it again? All right, there we go. And then as on the heel side of things, I'm like, all right, where can I give opportunities to people to also capitalize on these same things that I need to work on? And so, like, I was also working in another match where, like, I legit would, I hit a person and I started realizing, like, oh, let me just go talk to this ref real quick while I talk, like, give him this opportunity to, like, one, catch his breath, but two, like, let him know, like, hey. So I started to think about these opportunities too. And now I'm like, all right, so this is starting to work. This is starting to work. I was like, all right, I can start telling these stories a little better. I don't know, to me, it's kind of come around to, like, this fun side of things where I'm like, all right, these are the things that everybody was trying to teach me while I was in the ring, while I was still trying to learn and understand. And now that I kind of get put through the fire a little bit, I'm like, I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to understand what we're talking about. Here we go. This is what we want. Because I remember, like, one time in the ring, and listen, bro, I pull the curtain all the way back. I don't really give a shit. We were trading back and forth, and you were hitting, and then you're like, all right, go ahead. And even right before you said, all right, you're like, hit me, like, I had already thrown a strike back, and they're like, yeah, there you go. And then, like, we were going back and forth, and I was thinking about these things the whole time, and I was so wrapped up in my mind in the match that I was, like, forgetting to kind of breathe in the moment until we were sitting down, and then I bit your hand, and that's where I was like, all right, we're back into this. We're starting to calm this back down a little bit.
I mean, the art of wrestling, and it translates to whoever's watching, in my opinion at least. I'm not the you know, I don't make the law of wrestling, but in my opinion, the art of wrestling is found in the things that are improvised or the things that happen unexpectedly and how you react to them. That's the art of wrestling because you can you can go out there and be like, I'm going to do, I'm going to kick you in the face. I'm going to do this cool moonsault and you're going to roll out of the way and you're going to go for the slam, but I'm going to backflip out of it. I'm going to hit you with my move and all this stuff that's cool. And then, someone could go out there and they could like throw one punch at the right time and the people eat that up way more. It's just that's what wrestling is. It's not. It's that's why it's very difficult for me to catch on to certain aspects of wrestling because in school my mind always worked towards things that were absolutes that were like math or science where it's like okay you know a plus b equals c
Yeah.
and that's not wrestling. A plus b could equal yellow. Like it, it it's an art, it's not a science, and I'm like, there's certain things that usually work, but it could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no doubt. There's, like, so many different ways to, like, paint the color scheme, like, as long as you understand, like, how the colors are gonna work together, like, you can tell, like, whatever story you want, and that's where, like, really and I'll be fair, when I talk to people, pretty much go it's to use we go A to B, like, A to Z, like, we color the paints the way we do it just because, like, I'm like, "Listen, we're gonna paint by numbers, but we're gonna play inside the numbers, and we just gonna know, like, here's where we're at, and this is what we're building towards," and then, like, we call the match and then we go out there and we do it. And I always throw in there like the justification. I'm like, yo, man, just in case something happens, this is what we're gonna look at doing. So we'll go plan B with this. And then like, okay, cool. Not that it has to happen, but it's definitely been the thought process of like, listen, if we go out there and I think the crowd's gonna cheer for me and they start booing me, hey man, we're gonna make this flip real quick. And then I'm gonna give what the people want. And it's been kind of funny to like to think about the aspect of like this could happen, but it probably won't. But if it does, this is what we're gonna do. And this is how we'll turn everything around. And yeah, it is really much like the A plus B equals yellow. Like you have to kind of be ready for all things, but then also be ready to like just work on the fly sometimes, like when things are going down.
Yeah, and it's something that you just have to it's tough because it's not something you can really work on in a training school. It's something you have to do live in front of an audience. It's just that's the only way to really work on it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. What's been like, what's been like, so because I remember I saw you recently drop like your championship from grind, right? And then like just the movements keep going up. Like, how does the Moonlight Sun like go for the next goal? Like, what's the next? I guess how do I put it? Like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, that's a conversation I have with myself quite a bit, and it's something that I've thought about very recently, and I don't I know what it has to be, but I don't know how yet. I have to I have to find a way to get on bigger independence. I work a lot of really cool places. I wrestle a lot of really cool places, but for me to be able to contribute more, I have to go bigger. I don't know if that is necessarily always an independent or if I find a company that like a contract company like say an NWA or a TNA or an AEW or WWE or maybe that's overseas work. It's different things for different people, but there's very much a in terms of what exactly I'm doing, there's a ceiling that I'm like right at that if I can jump up, it'll be really good, but it's always the question of how. I think like to reference what I said earlier, controlling all the things I can control is really big. I need to my wrestling needs to be as good as it can be. My technique needs to be impeccable. My physique and my diet and my training need to be excellent. My promos and my speaking needs to be excellent. But I think on top of all of that, I need to take more risks.
Mm,
That's what I've seen work for a lot of people. There are wrestlers that jump off the page, in my opinion, because of a look or like they're a really big in shape wrestler, or they're a wrestler that can do amazing acrobatic things, or they're a wrestler that has a unique charisma or personal magnetism to where like people can't stop paying attention to them. But for everyone else, which I put myself in the category of more like normal people, you have to take risks and find ways to connect with our audience. And what that is for me, I'm not sure yet. I'm trying different things for sure. I'm taking way more risks now in terms of what I give to the paying fan than I ever have, but it's kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, man. Like I've been noticing like the size difference, right? Like you talk about getting into shape and getting into. I've been seeing like the work that you're putting in the gym is paying off because I definitely see like where we're thickening up. You know what I mean? Looking like some gravy on the chill mode. But I mean, I do understand too. It's crazy though because like I think for me, I always like to network like a lot and then try to lean on that network as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible. I could do more if I wanted to. But like as far as like I don't know, it's weird for me because like I think about the things that I'm trying to do, and I pretty much hear like all the times from people. They're always telling me like, hey, like keep doing the things you're doing, kid, or keep working. Keep doing this, keep doing that. And to me, it's funny because like I've heard other wrestlers who told me like when wrestlers tell you that, like you should take it as an insult. But I'm like, I don't know if I really am going to, just because like if I'm gonna keep working and keep grinding, like I'll keep getting better, as I go on. And I guess for you, I don't know. To me, I always think of you like I'm like, dang, dude, like the fact that you're not like checked out, signed on, or being tested in like other waters kind of blows my mind because you have a look, you have a character that you've already built, like put a whole world around. You're always adding new layers to it. So I guess like, what would it be like? I guess because I know for me, like one of the things I do, I get nervous about like reaching out to other people and like
Yeah, for
trying
sure.
to like establish the new connections. What do you think it is for you that's like holding you back from like going out there?
Yeah. Well, to reference what you said about taking, oh, keep doing what you're doing. A lot of wrestlers now that came up in the past probably 10 or 15 years, they're not they're not they probably mean that face value because not a lot of them are conniving enough to really play like that 5D chess with you like that. It's just the way it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, for me though, I know, or at least the way I look at it, I talked about taking risks. That's something I wish I had done more earlier. I wish I had bothered more people in terms of asking for bookings or asking to go places. And I'm not saying it's too late. These are things I'm playing catch up on now, but it's I played it safe for a while, and you don't get better playing it safe. You get, like I said, you get better taking risks, and to learn more, to see, like, a lot of the things I've been missing, I need that knowledge, I need that conversation and that advice and that critique from people that have done it successfully for a while, and you don't get around those people staying in the same spots, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. So,
Yeah, no, I do understand
I
that.
I gotta do more. I gotta try different things. Because like if I'm being really honest, I could I could kind of do what I'm doing now, and I could wrestle indies at like I could be at the top of the card on a lot of the indies I'm on and have like a perfectly good time and really enjoy myself and wrestle a lot of cool matches for like the next 10-ish years and just stay there and be cool. And it'll be fine and I'll wrap it up and I'll be like, "Hey man, like that was cool. I didn't make it to WWE, I didn't make it to AEW, all these things, but I had a really cool time and I wrestled some cool matches." Or I could really like take a shot and I could, take some risks and be in some really uncomfortable situations and maybe it'll pay off. Maybe it won't either. Not everyone makes it. There are a lot of guys that my trainer says this and I think it's a really good point. there are a lot of guys that play AAA baseball or play American League hockey or play Canadian League football that were really good, that were definitely good enough to be in the NFL, and they just never made it, and a lot of that's out of their hands. So, but what you can do is put every effort forth that you can so that, when you're done wrestling, you don't have any regrets. You don't be like, "Ah, I should have done this."
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. Because like it's for me, like my character wise, like I don't know. I guess I've never shied away of like trying to do different things with my character, and clearly my
Yeah,
Instagram will tell you all the things that I try to throw the wall at. But like I mean, I do understand the world of like evolving and changing and adding things to it and taking things out that doesn't make sense, and then like taking like big risks on things. And it's funny because like I even talked about it. Hi, Cindy. I talked about it at Kaiju. I told her, I was like, yo, how crazy would it be if like Red Dog one day just came out as a stripper? Like, what if he came out this, a tank top with gray sweatpants and some wrestling shoes? That's it. Like, that's the look. She was like, oh my God, I don't know what I would do. I was like, it could be fun. What's the worst that's
well,
gonna happen? It's one match.
I mean, when you really look at it, Shawn Michaels was a male stripper, and it just it just whittled down until it was still that, but it was way more Shawn Michaels than it was like this art that he had created for himself.
Yeah. He would tell people he was a sexy boy, you know?
Yeah, like, people always talk about, The Undertaker, like, The Undertaker, like, in his base form, he's a zombie, he's a mortician, and through years and years and years and, like, all the small changes, and eventually he's a biker, and then eventually he's, like, this weird, biker, zombie, wizard, like, hybrid, but, these things happen slowly over time, but then you look back and you're like, "Oh, man, I've come all this way from what I was originally," so,
Yeah.
like, the Moonlight Sun was like a direct ripoff of Axl Rose, basically. That was what I patterned everything off of, and right now I'm trying to get away from this because I don't think that it's the best I can present, and I'm being very candid with you right now, but it it got away from that, and it be like, right now, it's very me. It's very me with, like, a few loose, like, walls up, but
Yeah.
it started out very, like, caricature.
See, and that's the thing. I saw recently, like, I saw a photo of you with your face paint, and I was like, "Oh, I kinda like this look." I was
Yeah.
like, "I like this, like, warrior type mentality, face paint." And I was like, "This works." I was like, it definitely took me a second to kinda realize, like, what I was looking at, and I was like, "Yo, this is heavy. This is gonna." I was like, "He needs to keep this look, and he needs to stay for a while."
It's funny because, like, that's only the second time I've really done that, and I did it last November, and I was like, "Oh, man," like, I'm waiting for if a bunch of people, especially, like, people close to me that are gonna be like there are people, thankfully, in my life, in my wrestling space, that if I'm doing something dumb, they'll be like, "Hey, bro, that looks really dumb." And I was kinda waiting for that, but I didn't get that. A lot of them were like, "Hey, keep messing with it and try it and see what happens." And I'm like, "Cool." So now I gotta figure out I'm gonna keep doing it, and I just gotta figure out more of what it is and where we go. And maybe that's not my decision. Maybe the the audience takes me in a certain direction, but, that's gonna play out, and it's kind of exciting.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. I thought, like I said, looking at it, I was like, "Oh, okay, I see we've got all like the little patterns that are going in there." I like the I want to call it Native American look because that's not a fair assessment to say to it, but I like I said, I love like that indigenous aspect of it, like just this cold-hearted Viking type look. Now I'm just like, bruh, this is when you I see where we're going with it, and I was like, when you figure out like the face paint and how it's gonna look, I was like, this is gonna hit, and this is gonna hit heavy, and people are gonna be like, that fucking guy right there, you gotta have him on all your shows, even though you should have him on your shows now. You gotta have this fucking guy on all your shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for a while, it was like obviously, I don't have long braided hair right now, and that was kind of my look for it was my look for 7 years. So I shaved that off, and I was like just kind of wrestling like this, and I'm like, it's fine. Like I look like a wrestler, but like there's nothing that stands out. And I'd wanted to do the face paint thing a while. There are a lot of people that I'm fans of that did it, and I think I position myself in a way that, like, it doesn't seem like a huge left turn. It's something that, like, it's a big change, but it makes sense given what I've presented over the years. So I'm like, okay, this can be my thing that I can use to stand out. The tough part about it is I don't wanna bite off of someone else's presentation either,
Yeah.
because there are people out there you can use the famous examples like Sting, Balor, Muta, all these guys, but even on the independents, there are guys like, say, Arez or, Dark STG that I think are, there's another person too, his name is escaping me right now, and I apologize. So if I think of it later, I'll say it. But uh, there are a lot of guys out there that are doing like really cool takes on it, and I don't want to I don't want to step on their toes at all. They were doing it longer, they're doing it before me, and they're doing it so cool. So I want to try and figure out what my lane for that is. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I was like, once you figure that part out, I was like, this is gonna hit. And I was like, a lot of people are gonna be like, yo, you should be watching him. You should check out what he's doing right now. And I really, really believe that. So I just want to seem like I'm blowing smoke, but that definitely, like I said, I see the thought process, and I'm like, I can't wait till he figures this part out. This part's gonna fuck with so many people when you get it.
Appreciate that.
Yo, all right, so I'm gonna take this over to one of my favorite parts of this show, right? Because the first time that we met, we actually, or first interview we did a 3 count podcast, 10 count questions. This is going to be called Pin Submit DQ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed you 3 entities, and you got to pin one, submit one, and DQ one.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about people who face paint. So yeah, you already brought the names up, and I just want to add to it. So we're going to go with Sting, Finn Balor, and the Great Muta.
Okay. So I'll ask you this. I understand the DQ part. In your opinion, what is the separation between pin and submit?
I mean, one of them's just taking the 3 count, and the other one's tapping out. So that's pretty much.
They're tapping out or I'm
Yeah,
tapping out?
they're tapping out.
Okay.
Yeah, you're tapping
So,
in.
oh, that's tough because I like all three of them a lot. I'm gonna say, oh, I'm gonna say pin Muda, DQ Sting. No, sorry, pin Muda, submit Sting, DQ Balor, but by the smallest margin because I really like all three. So extremely unlikely event that word gets out to them. I apologize, fellas. I think you're all
Don't worry, because like I love like bringing like all these different like
yeah.
things involved. So like our next 3, right? It's gonna be kind of fun. So they'll be it'll be a familiar path, right? We're
Yeah.
gonna go with Scorpion, Sub Zero, and Nightwolf.
Oh man, I got to DQ Nightwolf. Nightwolf rules, but Scorpion and Sting are like two of my two of my top two of my top three Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, yeah.
So I gotta go. I gotta go pin Scorpion. Submit Sub Zero.
Yo, submitting Sub Zero would be lit.
Yeah,
I just could not imagine seeing Sub Zero tap out, and I would just be like, "Let's go, say
Sub Zero.
something to your brother."
Yeah.
For those who know, you know. So the last 3 that I want to pick is still going to be in the same. Actually, it's not even be in the same world. We're going to take it to the superheroes because this movie just came out. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. Thing, Human Torch, and Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I just saw this movie, and I'm not gonna put any spoilers here because I'm not that guy, but I really enjoyed that movie. I was a fan of the 2004 movie
Yeah,
with Chris Evans, Michael Chiklis, Jessica Alba, and
Ian.
you know,
Yeah,
I thought this one did it was very faithful to the characters, and it played it a little safe, but I don't hate that because I won't go too deep into this, because I'll go on a rant that I don't wanna go on, but it's nice to see a superhero movie that wasn't, like, just, like, nonstop jokes, because once Thor: Ragnarok came out, everything was a comedy, and not every superhero needs to be that. This was just, like, a pretty straightforward superhero movie, and I was cool with that. So, Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch, yes,
Yep, yep.
my 3. Big human big Human Torch guy. So I gotta pin the torch. I gotta I gotta submit Thing, and then Reed Richards. You're out of there, pal.
Yeah.
DQ. He
I,
ruled, I
I
feel
like,
bad for, John Krasinski's interpretation of him bothered me. For some reason, that whole scene in,
yeah,
Strange
yeah,
bothered me, but I'm not the only one.
yeah. And we won't have to dive too much into this. My biggest problem is you're the smartest man, right? And you legitimately were like, with one word, he can just eradicate you. Why would you say that?
Yeah,
Why would you tell him? Why would you tell Wanda what you're about to do?
yeah. Even on top of that, Black Bolt has trained his entire life to be disciplined about when he does or does not speak. He's not the also, can't you breathe through your nose? Like, this it's not he's not the type to, like, freak out. That's very much the opposite of his personality, but this could turn into nerd superhero talk real quick, so I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I was very disappointed. I was like, "Oh, Reed, you're not so smart." Like, I was so hyped for seeing John. Just like, come on, man. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? So I can't wait to see like the all the Richards together and then just listen, John, you're not there. And when you're not there, we're all gonna be like, yeah, shouldn't have said anything. Yo, so what I need you to do is I need you to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Yeah, so first I'm gonna plug my pro wrestling tees store because a lot of people ask me to reprint certain designs, and those designs that I get asked about most often are on my pro wrestling tees store. So you can order them in any size you want. You can get them in tank top, long sleeve. They have all kinds of options. They're great because, as you know, printing t-shirts is expensive, and I can only do so many at a time. And I just printed 2 new designs, so go on my pro wrestling tees store. I got cool designs on there. Buy those before you come to the merch table and ask me. But you I advertise all the shows I'm at. You can find me if you wanna find me on the road, great place to look, Pro Wrestling Grind, Immortal, Green Mountain Wrestling are 3 that I've been frequenting this year a ton, so those I'm very thankful for. Also, One Up Wrestling, I've messed around at some Three Legacies Wrestling, Smashmaster Wrestling in Northeastern PA, and some more places to come. But if you wanna find me on socials, you can find me everywhere at Mike Skyros, MikeSkyros, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. I'm not really active on TikTok in terms of posting different stuff, but I'm there. I like to just watch stuff on there, and then I do have a Discord page as well that's kinda like a one-stop shop for, like, upcoming bookings. I got some behind the scenes stuff, I got some blogs, I got some unseen match footage, so that's available too.
Nice. Yeah. Well, like every great part of a wrestling match, because he just told you everything that where you can find him, and you should, because he's great. But like every great part of a wrestling match, we gotta take this home because this is now entering 201, and I'm your host, Clifford a Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. Also, if you're wondering why my voice sounds like this, it's because when you go to a ring and you bump a bunch back to back days, Mike will tell you too, your vocal cords kind of get damaged up a little bit, and then you know. What's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Red Dog, and thank you for checking out this episode of the 3 Count Podcast. Whether that was Chaz friends, Red Dog friends, Damien friends, the Films Lounge, Now Into the Ring, Now Entering 201, or Now Returning to the Ring, you know, all those great episodes. You should really be liking, commenting, and even sharing this with your friends, family, whoever it may be. But what you all should be doing is checking us out on all of our social media platforms at 3 Count Pod, whether that's on IG, Twitch, you know, you check us out on Threads, whatever it may be. And if you go check us out on X, it is 3count_pod. Check us out on YouTube, as well as Facebook, on Rumble, on Apple Music, on Spotify, all those fun things. You know, tell your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and your best friends and your enemies, because we love haters too. Do all that stuff. And then, you know, last but not least, buy our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com. Kawaii.